What's up, Rangers? Welcome to GeekChess. My name's Steve, and today I got a fancy, well, we're gonna do you eventually later. Brought my studio lighting out here, and we got some chinless Gokus. But we're gonna be doing a, got my dogs running around down here with this little thing. I probably should take that off here in a minute, but we'll do that after we get this. Today we're gonna go over this guy here, which is a Revoltech Legion. What happened is the dog that you hear in the background knocked him off of the shelf like a while back. I had him downstairs doing photos and stuff. Had it sitting on one of my shelves. Jessica decided to let the dog in, came in, knocked him down, and snapped a couple of the joints here. Now, normally I would fix it, but because the way they're set up, they're super tiny. So I can either just glue these permanently in place, call it a day, and I'm like, okay, that's an option, but this guy importing him isn't super expensive to get a hold of another one. Or gal, I should say. So, I currently have one on order, so I'm going to have, actually the old release, this one's the reissue. And I'm going to make this one into the final battle version you see towards the end of the movie. So, I already started taking off some stuff. I found some images. As in, I watched the movie and took screenshots so that I could figure out what's missing and what I need to take off. Because what's going to happen is I'm going to end up cutting parts of the horns off, some of these legs, and possibly drilling into its face. Because what I want it to look like is when it had all the beams sticking out of its face. After Gamera breaks this part off. I thought that'd be cool, something unique. I'll probably dust it with a little bit of black. Just spray paint from afar, just to give it more of a dirty look. But this is going to be requiring a lot of trimming off stuff. Thankfully, it doesn't have to be perfect, because we're breaking, essentially, Gamera broke it off in the movie. There's explosions when the missiles hits these things. So it doesn't have to be super clean looking, which I appreciate. I might add like a little bit of stuff, I think especially here when I cut it off, to make it look more like it was in the movie. That, and I'm probably going to repaint part of this. Mainly just go over the eyes and this part real quick with some metallic red. So nothing too complicated, because thankfully most of the rest of the body you don't really have to touch. It's just these guys, this, and then its face. The drilling kind of scares me a little bit going into this translucent plastic, because I need to drill into it to get the wires to stick out. And then we're gonna probably just gonna repaint the wires. I might add a little bit of hot glue over top of it to give it a little bit of texturing. We'll go over that here in a few, because that's kind of like what you do with how you make Godzilla beam effects too, which I do need to make a video eventually. Maybe after this guy. Alright, but first and foremost, we're going to chop off a bunch of stuff. Well, actually, I'm going to go set him up off camera real quick. For the most part, because I got to re-look and make sure I got the limbs, because I think this limb's actually supposed to be here, because it only has the 2 on the arm left, and then this one only has like 1 or 2 left too, but like this one's cut in half, and so on and so forth. So, back in a minute. Alright, so, looking at some screenshots on here, this is essentially the long fingers that are still going to be attached to this figure once we're done. On the side. I'll have some better images, because I'll probably show you guys just some of the screenshots I took. But more or less, this is kind of the one I'm looking at. And to me, after taking a few of these, it seems like we're going to have a stubby one here, which is going to be like this part here. One a little bit farther up. Here, it's going to be more broken there. This one's going to have to just straight come off. Then long one, come off. Like this one's kind of... like I might maybe keep the... maybe I'll just chop it off the stump there and hook that on. That might be better. I gotta make sure I'm not using too many of these. Because, alright, so I got an articulated one here. Good thing to always just make sure you got enough pieces to do what you need to do before you get this going. So articulated piece here. So I will definitely have a free one just kind of chop off onto that part right there. Yeah, because you can see on that side there, you have the long one on top, crushed one with the beginning of the second spike, and then one with just the base on it. So now is the fun part, where we get to chop these into little bits, and then we'll get into working on this part here in a few. Now with this, I try to use items that you can get readily available, mainly like X-Acto knives, stuff like that. You don't usually have to spend too much money to do this. This one you're going to kind of need a Dremel, or some kind of small tool in order to chop these little parts up. So one of these I'm going to chop pretty much right up about here at the joint. So we're just going to crank that up and just go into it. It's pretty easy to do. Really just saw into it. It doesn't have to be pretty. So that's pretty much it for that part. I might grind them a little bit too, which I can show you guys, but that looks pretty good. So it's got that little piece. I could sand that down a little bit, but that just hooks. That'd be this one here. Now some of these I'll probably add like a little bit of black at the end just to make them look better. This one we're gonna... Oh, that one we were just chopping, so that's what we were doing there. Alright, so for this next one, I already kind of started doing it, but just chopping off the peg there, because I'm going to take one of the ones that broke, and I'm just going to glue that over top of it. And then this one, just going to cut the little one piece off. Using my tiny little pliers. Kind of useful to have one of these. I'm just gonna take that off. One thing I do recommend, definitely wear safety glasses. It's one thing I didn't mention at the beginning of this video. I'm just gonna add it now so I can insert this later. Wear safety glasses. But this one, I'm gonna glue over top of this guy. So this won't be pulsable, but this will give me the little white nub that you've seen. So I gotta keep that one set aside. So that one you'll get to see a little bit later. Next one, we needed one without the joint here. So cut that off. And then that one was that dude there. Was that the bottom one? I don't remember anymore. Bottom one. Oh, actually, that had more off of it, it looked like. It's kind of like that. So we had that one. That dude. This one's blank. The one with the joint goes back up here. And then this top one, we don't actually need. One of the things, like, you have a little pliers. Help get that off. Pretty easy to do. Next side. We just need one chopped one. So good. Gonna go right into it. Yeah. This Dremel's kind of hard to turn off. From the looks of it, it's kind of at the same point. I might try to keep a... Actually, you know what? I could probably just pop that off. And I can keep some of the black here. Oh, it goes all the way through. Yeah. Alright. Got a plan, gentlemen and gentle ladies. Just gonna chop off this part here. There we go. Now I get to keep the little black piece. So that one's for this. So rawr. And that's pretty much it for that. I guess I could take out this top one here. So next, got the claws all done. They're pretty damaged if I do say so myself. Next is these guys, which for this part I'm actually gonna just remove the head. I think this will be a lot easier. So you get out of the way, because we are gonna have to drill into his face a little bit. Well, her face. I keep saying his. I know it's a chick. It's Queen Legion. Now it's kind of hard to get a good shot of the one. This side is pretty simple. The other one, I know it's still on it a little bit, as you guys can kind of see from that shot there. But it's pretty much like, I'm going to assume it's chopped off right about there. So I'm going to remove that real quick. So I'm just going to take it off right at the base here. Ooh, that's hot. Doo-doo-doo. So we got this part. Using my little wire cutters. Just kind of snip at it a little bit. Get some of the excess off. I think I'm going to try to take out a little bit of a diagonal here. Go in a little bit. So we got that little indent. I'll go back over this with some black paint later. So now we have it on the side of her head. So she's got the one damaged side now. Now on the next side, we definitely keep a lot more of that in. For the most part, it's just the spike part we want. So this one's going to be a little bit more complicated to do. But I think I'm going to try to shave up and kind of like at a diamond shape. Smell of burnt plastic. And then as you can see, I'm going so fast that it's melting the plastic a bit. And then there's a couple little breaks, so we're going to add that here as well. As you guys can see, it kind of has like a frayed kind of look to it. So I'm going to go in a little bit at the top. Yeah, let's kind of keep working on this till I like what I see. So kind of that look to it. Again, go over a little bit of black and maybe a little bit of sandpaper just to clean it up a little bit. Once we get it back on our head, kind of be like that. But they're mainly going to be open anyways, for when it's going to be like tentacles everywhere. Next, though, is the scary part. I don't know how well this is going to work. We're going to try it, though. We're going to insert some wires into her face to make the tentacles. The giant lasers that came out of her face before they impaled on the Gamera, which what I have baked this with, I'm using galvanized steel wire, 25 pound. It holds its pose pretty well, which is the reason why I'm going with this. My game plan is make little holes so you can insert this in, super glue them in, and then I'm just going to kind of go over this with a little bit of hot glue to give it a little bit of like depth, and then we'll paint it afterwards. But for the most part, this should be able to stick in there and hold without needing to use a stain, and it'll hopefully look kind of cool. So what I need to do is actually measure up a drill bit, which I got some sitting here, which looks like the ones that are in there still are a little too big. Right back. Alright, so found the drill size I need. The easiest way I do this is you can either use Sculpey. You just literally jab the drill into the Sculpey, pull it out, you take your wire, and as long as it goes in there pretty smoothly, you know you got the right size, which seems to be working. That, or if you got something else you could drill into real quick, just something small, just crank it on, drill into it, and then just try it out, make sure it works. before you go into the item that you want to be perfect. What I'm going to do, this part I'm actually going to do off camera because I kind of have, well, I guess I could try, I'll do one off camera, make sure it's going to work, and then I will do one with you guys watching. Okay, sound good? Sound good. And it works! We got the Legion face on there. Alright, so, drilled one hole over here on this side. Repeat process. This one I like to use low. Just make sure I'm not going to screw it up. But just kind of take it slow, going at an angle. Don't go too far in. That feels about right. Clean off a little bit. Make sure our wire hooks in. Good to go. Alright, so next I'm going to do the other 3 holes that are going to be underneath. Pretty much 1, 2, and 1 underneath. And then we'll come back, resize these, and get everything all kind of situated. Alright, so here's the setup right now. Kind of looks like she has little feelers, but you guys can see what I'm trying to go with. Probably got to come back tomorrow, because I'm going to have to get these things to permanently affix, and then try to make them look like lasers. So, be back tomorrow once I get that done. But what I'm going to be doing is just taking some super glue, dipping them into the holes, try to get these to stay in there a little bit better. I might just try hot glue. Just like hot glue it in there real quick. That might solve my problem. Well, I'll let you guys know what happens afterwards. But what I'm going to do, I'll show you guys how to do it on individual wires since I have a crap ton of it. So I'm actually just going to go do it. And then I'll show you guys on my extra stuff how I came to this. Alright, so got a little bit ahead of myself, but here's essentially the finished product. With Legion's laser tentacles coming off of its face. But as you can see, looks pretty cool. If it zooms in correctly anyways. Looks pretty gnarly if I do say so myself. It kind of sort of looks... I wish if I wasn't using the wires I probably would use some slightly different paint. But because of using the wires so that I can make these actually articulate a little bit, I had to paint over top of them. But how you do this anyways? I'll use this little extra piece. But what you do is you take your glue gun. Then you just apply a little bit of pressure just to get a little bit of glue to come out the tip. Now do be careful because this is hot, but as you can see there's a little bit coming out. And you just kind of just run it along the wire here. You just apply a little bit here at a time. You go completely down the one side. Don't worry if you add a little bit of extra. It ain't gonna kill anything. Or is it? And then you do the same thing on the other side. Just a little bit of pressure. Go up. And then you just wait for the side to dry. Afterwards, once this gets cooled down, you'll just do the same thing to the other side. But we're not going to do that for this part here. And then we'll bring up, when you do the other side, that is when you kind of want to insert it into the Legion's head so that it'll stay attached. Anyways, because you kind of use the glue just to fix it to the face. That's what I did anyways. Hopefully it's still a little tacky. Give it a second. Then after that, it's just take whatever paint you're going to use. I'm using this metallic red is what I use for the figure here. Brush a little bit off there and then you just apply the paint over top of it. It's pretty simple. Nothing too crazy. And that'll get you your more beam look. One thing I did to kind of give it a little added effect is after painting and letting it dry, actually sprayed it a little bit with some white paint here. I just dusted it, so you kind of just keep it far away. Sprayed a little bit, just small little spurts until you get the overall desired effect. So you can see it's got like a metallic shine to it with a little bit of white flakes here and there to try to give it a little bit more of like an energy look to it. And then the only other things I really did was the same technique I used for dusting the beams here. I did it with black paint over the figure just to make it a little bit darker looking. That just it gives it a little bit more of a grit look to it. Because to be fair with the Revoltech, it was really shiny. So, I do kind of like this appearance a little bit better. Makes it a little bit more dirtier. And then I just added some black paint to the ends of the tips here, so it wasn't just like bright white on the ends here. Then this is still articulated, so we're all good. You can see the nub has been attached, and that ain't going anywhere. So I guess I also used a little bit of black paint here, just again, just kind of make it look a little bit dirtier. But one thing I'm going to do before we move on to the final here, also painted the eyes the same color as the beams. So it's got that nice little red glow to it. I'm actually going to sand off that part. That's the word I'm looking for. So I'll swap out my attachments real quick. Might need to go do a little sanding bit. I've used this one a ton. But anyways, I'm just going to remove a little bit of plastic here because it looks kind of thick to me there. Alright, after sanding it down a bit, we're down to here. So now I'm just going to apply a little bit of black paint to it and pretty much call it a day for this. So we'll get to the review table so you guys get a little bit better look at the end results. And here's the finished product. I went and did one step without you guys. What I did was after doing the red, it kind of bothered me that it looked like a tentacle. So what I had laying around was some translucent yellow. I tried putting that over top of the red and actually turned out to give it this like nice, like fiery energy look to it. So I actually really like the look of this now. Looks pretty gnarly, especially with the red still kind of highlighting through in a lot of the sections. Plus the yellow kind of gave it, yellow and the red gives it more of an orange tinge now. So definitely it looks like something's gonna get messed up. You know what I'm saying. Also kind of looks like ketchup in some spots, but not quite tentacly anymore. Like now it has way more of an energy feel to it. I could probably maybe get a little bit more areas a little bit better, but overall pretty happy with this. And you guys can also see a little bit better details with the little black dusting I did over top of it to give it a little bit more of a dirty look. The appendages being broken definitely look like they've been through some stuff. Still, like I said, I wanted to keep the articulation on them still because you would see them still kind of trying to work in the movie. So they're still able to do that. But Legion definitely looks like she's not happy. Also, like, the idea of sanding that down too, that looks way more movie accurate now than what it did previously. Let me know in the comment section below if you guys have ever done something like this. Take like a damaged figure and try to make something useful out of it. Because initially, like, if I would have got a new Legion anyways, this just would have ended up in the garbage. Like, I would have kept the accessories, would have pitched this thing, never looked back. Maybe would have kept the joints. But now, she's definitely got a little bit more of a use to be standing on my shelf. Then, if there's any other Geth figures, the next custom I kind of would like to attempt. Granted, I kind of think I need to try to find somebody with a broken 2000 SH Monstars. Or even probably a Bandai Vinyl would work. Maybe both. Because I kind of want to do the Godzilla in Hell Godzilla 2000, where it's like the mouth split open, and you have like the tentacles everywhere and the giant teeth. I kind of want to make that. But I got to get extra stuff and try to locate damaged figures, because I don't really have any more extras. At least figure-wise. That would be maybe my next attempt. Because building-wise, I still kind of want to do a Diet building. Got to get around to that. But anyways, make sure to help us defeat those kaijus by hitting that like button, subscribe, become a Ranger today. We'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.